is, I don't know, I guess we can call this 13. This is 13, but I was also thinking, you know, when I put it into the Anchor FM thing, it asked me about what's the season and episode. I'm like, season, I've been putting 1. It could be season 2.
I think this is season 2, episode
I think
1.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
I kind of like the sound of that better.
Yeah.
Every year is like a different season instead.
Well, was last episode season 2, episode 1, because I know we did it in December, but we released it.
I can't remember
Because we did, because last year our first one that we released in January was done in December. So if you go to December, in January, because we did one each month.
I think this is going to be season 2, episode 1, because I already put one
well,
episode.
it's all good. It's all good then. We set.
But then I started thinking, oh man, should we do season 2? I think I like that. Season 2.
Yeah.
I might even switch up the intro music for season 2.
I'm with it, bro. I'm with it,
keep
man.
It a little fresh.
I'm with that, man.
All right.
Maybe we end up like the Maury Parker show.
Right. I like that. Yeah.
But no, man, I wanted to tell you something earlier. When I first worked in, I had finally got a hold of a client to do a review video. I thought of the most perfect guy. I actually know him personally. He used to be a chef. His name is Vincent. He used to be a chef when I was in high school and in college. I used to work at Clark Retirement Home. He was a chef there. And then he ended up working for GRPS in the food department or something like that. So, and obviously I was security. So we seen each other, and I actually did his home inspection 2 years ago. And the reason I remembered that, because I know I needed to get a hold of some clients to do those videos. Right. And then secondly, what unfortunately reminded me of it, today is the 2 years when I inspected his house. And that's how I knew today was the 2 years when Kobe and his daughter Gigi died. And it was, you know, unfortunately for more people in the helicopter.
Yeah.
Because I remember that day.
2 years ago.
I got out the attic, and I had checked my phone, and Monique had checked. She said, "Did you see something about Kobe?" And I go downstairs. I'm cleaning myself off, so I don't respond right away or whatever. But I get downstairs before I respond. Vincent said, "Man, Kobe Bryant just died."
Yeah.
So today, unfortunately, you know what I'm saying. So rest in peace to Kobe, Gigi, and
what a tragic thing that was. Yeah, that's absolutely tragic. I mean,
it's crazy, man. Like growing up, Kobe was pretty much my Michael Jordan.
Really?
I was a Kobe fan. I was a Lakers fan because of Kobe and everything like that. So definitely rest in peace to the GOAT in my eyes and everything.
That's
so
crazy. I feel like sometimes I underestimate that stuff because like I don't really pay too much attention to sports. There's been times in my life where I have, you know, but like there's also it always seems like there's also pretty much to some degree, no matter what sport you are into, there's those kind of the Kobe's or the Michael Jordans or whatever. It's interesting though because it does seem like bowling. We were just talking about bowling, like basketball. Like it's always. It seems to me, anyways, like it's a smaller number. Like there's always just no more. Even a handful seems like too much, but at most like 5 or something like that. Where you know where that's kind of everybody's like focus is on those few guys.
They understand they are not just athletes, but they also like icons and celebrities, kind of you know somewhat.
Yeah, and I could because I didn't ever really pay attention, but I don't really ever remember hearing too much about like any of those guys specifically in basketball, like ever getting into any trouble or doing anything other than good. You know what I mean? Being super talented and doing good things. Like I feel like part of it's just the climate, but like I know right now, I mean, I don't know if this would be accurate, but I would say like probably the most what would you say? I don't know, skilled basketball player right now is still probably LeBron. Would you say that's accurate?
Skilled?
Yeah, talented, skilled. Like
LeBron is still like right now he's averaging like 27, and he's been in the league for 20 years. LeBron is 38 years old. He's almost 40, and he's averaging like 27, 7 rebounds and 7 assists this year. It's fucking incredible.
That's crazy.
That's pure longevity. But You said the most talented?
Yeah, I guess
I would
that's
say
kind of subjective too. I mean, I just kind of mean like the one the most people kind of.
It would be out of LeBron and Steph Curry.
That's what I was thinking too. Because I don't know much about basketball, but I do know that name and I hear it very often. So
you hear him on every rap song. If you don't Drake, he's in the few Drake. Steph, you know.
Yeah. But he's younger too, right? Obviously.
Steph is in his 30s. I want to say Steph got to be like 31, 32. But yeah, he's much younger than LeBron. He came to the league 2009 or 2010.
Okay.
Yeah, and he has 5 rings. I mean, he has 4. I think Steph has 4 rings.
Yeah,
maybe
crazy.
2 MVPs.
Wow.
He's the truth. That's
incredible.
For sure, man.
So I was gonna say, I feel like LeBron does a lot of good things, but he's like almost a controversial figure too. Like some people don't. There's been times he's done stuff where or said stuff where I'm kind of like. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Sometimes he just I don't know if like I feel like a lot of those that I can think of like Jordan, Kobe, they had kind of like maybe it's just coincidence or whatever, but they kind of have media personalities. Like you never really think it. Like Kobe just seemed like a soft-hearted, gentle kind of guy. Michael Jordan, I didn't know too much about him, but I didn't really ever get any other vibe than that. I feel like sometimes people have like there's like a different side of LeBron. Yeah. Like sometimes he's a little cold. Did you ever see? It's been a long time since I watched it, but there was a couple times I used to watch Jimmy Kimmel, and he had his little what would you call it? His little co-host Guillermo. You know what I'm talking about? Sometimes he would go to these like NBA events or whatever, or like where they're practicing and shit like that, and he would try to like interview the players and stuff like that. And a lot of them would entertain him or whatever. He'd ask some stupid questions and just mess with them, and it was like a running joke that he would always go and try to get LeBron's attention, and LeBron would just give him the cold shoulder. All that time, he just wasn't having any of it. But at the same time, I think that's just focus. He wasn't really being a jerk.
Sure.
He was just like, I'm not really trying to like, you don't get to average at 30.
I know what you're here for, y'all.
Right? You know what I mean? So sometimes I feel like it's also just like the climate of like trying to get people. Trying to make people look worse, you know what I mean? Taking any opportunity to find somebody, especially who's way up here, and finding a reason to make them, to try to pull them down somehow. You know what I mean? Like they have a weak character moment like anybody else or something.
Shannon Sharp just had one of those.
What happened?
Shannon Sharp had almost got into an altercation with the Memphis Grizzlies at a game with one of their players. Do you know who Shannon Sharp is?
I know the name, but I couldn't picture.
He co-host Undisputed with Skip Bayless, but he's known for he's actually a Hall of Famer. He's like one of the best tight ends of all time.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm pretty sure you know John Elway. And Terrell Davis. Maybe you heard of him. That's pretty much like was the 3 offensive, tandem.
Yeah.
To win those Super Bowls and stuff. And then he also won one with the Ravens. When Ray Lewis and them.
That's more along the time I paid attention to more of that stuff for sure. Yeah.
But I think the difference probably with Jordan and Kobe compared to LeBron, to even bring up the topic that you want to discuss, is pretty much social media. Media has definitely changed.
That's true.
Jordan came in the league in 1986. That's when people were reading newspapers and Kobe came in the league 96. Obviously crazy. Probably towards the end of his career, probably social media. But at that time, Kobe had, kind of slowed down his career. He wasn't, what I'm saying, and everything like that. So that was more LeBron era when he got, and everything like that. So
that's a good point. Yeah, there's just there's a combination of like, I think, like mainstream news outlets and stuff also have changed since that time to where like they've always been a little sensational, right? Because that's the news, is to try to get you kind of like excited or thinking that whatever they think is important is important. It has always been the case. It's like no secret. But I feel like definitely lately, it almost feels like it's probably to compete with social media because there's so much stuff on social media that just can naturally have that sensationalist like feeling to it, that the mainstream media feels like they got to get more sensational, and so you clickbait articles and clickbait titles, and they just find the worst shit they can find. And you're probably right. Like if there had been social media around and all that when say Jordan was like, he probably had some weaker character moments and stuff that they would have that they would have,
Picture
you know,
Dennis
put him on
Rodman,
blast. Yeah.
Mike Tyson on social media. Man.
Yo, Tyson would have got banned from Twitter just like Donald Trump, bro.
Yo, picture Mike Tyson on Instagram, man.
Yeah.
It'd be the funniest shit ever, man.
That's true. Yeah, that's true, man. That's a great point. I hadn't even really thought of that.
Oh, man.
I hadn't even really thought of that. That's true, though. That's true, though.
Or even in the wrestling area.
Yeah.
With Stone Cold, The Rock, and Hulk.
Yeah.
And, Hulk, man, you know,
I wonder if they
Hulk
go
Hogan
ape
and
on them
everything.
right now. I used to watch that stuff when
I
was
used to
a
watch
kid.
the Hulk Hogan show. I remember that.
I used to watch
back
a lot
in
of
the
the
day.
wrestling.
Yeah.
I wonder how they do kind of like. I feel like it is. I mean, because wrestling is especially funny because it's all about drama. You know what I mean?
And action, literally, man.
Yeah, it's like a big, soap. It's like an adult soap opera, like with wrestling. You know what I mean? I wonder if they really take advantage of social media like that. They should if they're not. But
The Rock has. He has definitely developed, like, if you are 10 or 15, you don't even know who The Rock is. The Rock was a whole different person
that's true.
in 1990 and 20s,
That's
in
true.
2000 compared to who he is now.
That's very
Physically, like literally, he's a whole different
He was a
human being.
big dude back in the
Yeah.
wrestling. Now he's
Yeah.
just a giant.
And now he acts and does all that stuff full time. So
Yeah.
he's probably like the definition of literally a full 360.
Yeah.
As he fully took control over his life.
That's true.
100%.
That's true. Yeah. Seems like he's always been a hard working type of guy for sure. He has literally just only gotten bigger ever since I first seen him in wrestling. Like that guy's gargantuan. My goal, kind of, in being able to like lose weight and get into best shape, is because I want to eat more like that guy. Have you ever seen how he eats?
Yeah.
Sometimes he posts that stuff online.
You
see this guy eating a plate of pancakes for breakfast with like an energy drink or something, and like he looks like that. And I'm like, I want that. I do, man. I want to be able to eat that much. I understand that you got to put in the work. I'm ready to put in that work just to be able to do that, bro. That is like one of my life dreams.
I love pancakes, man.
Right. Imagine if you could have them every day and never suffer the consequences. You know what I mean?
Oh, man. I typically take a nap after I eat pancakes in the morning.
I know. That's what's crazy. I would feel terrible if I ate all that. Terrible. But maybe you don't feel anything when you just work it all
Exactly.
Like
you
that.
burn all of those calories your body used to. The shit burning off before you even move, man.
12 pancakes probably don't even make a dent. It's crazy.
Man.
That's crazy.
To go back to the social media, man, I know we were pretty much talking about that before we started the show. You mind kind of sharing with the people exactly, because you pretty much said you stepped away from it, kind of telling the reasons why, and kind of what's the benefit, kind of stepping away from
for
social
me,
media.
like it was like I was saying before we even started, like it's kind of weird to even feel like you got to put that much thought into it to begin with, because like I feel like just even having it around puts this pressure on so many different things. It puts pressure to be on it. You feel like you got to be on it for business. You feel like you got to be on it for personal. You feel like if you're not on it, people are going to wonder what's wrong. Like I've already had people ask me if everything, is everything good? I'm like, great, everything's good. I appreciate that. I know people have, people are just checking because they're concerned. But I just can't stand. There's like so many things like that it's just become so integrated in so many different things that we've kind of allowed it to become integrated in. And it's not that it doesn't do good things, and that's one thing I've kind of had to, think about is like maybe it's almost definitely it's just something that maybe isn't for me, but other people do fine with. You know what I mean? And that's just part of kind of figuring this stuff out, because even though it seems like we've had it since we were much younger and everything, it is still a new thing. You know what I mean? So we're still kind of figuring out who it works best with, what it works best for, what it's not good for, and all that. But like, yeah, I just get so tired of that, and I also get tired of like when I see. This is something I've been thinking about and noticing a lot for the last, I would say, probably a year or two, and I don't really necessarily know what even prompted that, but like I've noticed that a lot of times when you go to do things, if you're going to like a zoo or a concert, show, something like that, anywhere that's an event or something like that, I just can't help but notice how many people experience that almost the entirety of that event through the lens of their phone. You know what I mean? And like, I
Gotta
don't really,
record, yeah.
you know, it's not to be judgmental or to, you know, I mean, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but it makes me feel a certain way that's like, it just seems concerning to me, you know, and like, I've even been there before where I just, you know, depending on the situation in your life, how many people you got around you, that sort of thing, who knows? I mean, people, there's like this performative element to social media, and with the introduction of like Snapchat and all those other things, like there's just there's just it creates this pressure to make people feel like they gotta show the world around them and all these people around them, hundreds, sometimes thousands, sometimes more
millions
people, depending on who you are, like you gotta show these people what's going on in your life. And to me it seems like it's hard to do that. It's hard for anyone to do that and also give the time of day they need to the actual people and things that are around them. It seems like you got to pick one or the other, you know, unless you're like so big, you got a social media team or something. You got this system of creating content.
That shows how some, I would say impactful it is, because you have to actually hire somebody to actually control it.
And that's at a high level, you know. So I just feel like, to me personally, it's kind of like, you know, if I'm, and again, this is like specific to me because some people, like we were talking again before the show about moderation and things like that. Some people, everybody has moderation when it comes to certain things and then lacks moderation when it comes to other things. There's no real necessary reason why that is, and everybody's just kind of different. But I just think that, you know, some people can almost definitely have social media accounts and, you know, barely check them, hardly be involved in them, that sort of thing. Maybe for me, like, because I work on the computer, I grew up on a computer, I spent so much time in front of electronic devices, it's kind of hard not to, you just kind of find yourself falling into those, and when you're bored or something, you're checking Facebook or you're checking Instagram or whatever, but you start to add up how much time that is, how much time wasted, and then if you get sucked into that kind of performative aspect of feeling like I gotta take pictures of all my food and I gotta take pictures of myself, like we were talking about a long time ago at the Grand Canyon and shit. I remember going to the Grand Canyon and seeing, you know, people doing that, and I'm like, I get it, getting a picture, like take your pictures, you know, we're blessed to have cameras and we're blessed to have them in our phones, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I just feel like so often people just are so far lost into that it's like, it just scares me and it makes me feel bad, and I think I don't really want to be a part of that insofar as like I don't want to even encourage it, you know what I mean? I don't want to get sucked into it, and you know, I would rather be somebody who just kind of says like, you know, it's just not for me, I'm not really into it, and if anybody was to ever really ask why, you know, that would pretty much be it. It's like I just don't really any part of it. If I was to really, and I did a few times, ask myself like, what are the benefits, what are the pros, what are the cons, what does it add to my life, and what does it take away? It don't add anything. It adds literally nothing. You know what I mean? Other than occasionally the capability to connect with family or friends that otherwise maybe wouldn't be around, but like, that's hard to use that as an excuse because we didn't need that in the past.
Exactly.
You know, so it's a hard, and so I toyed around a few times too with just kind of cleaning out my Facebook or whatever, really getting rid of a lot of people and stuff. But I also didn't really like the idea of like people realizing that I had done that or something, and then having to have those conversations, or like having people feel some sort of animosity towards me because like I deleted them and then like I hate them or something, because I know how people feel.
People, I'm with you on that, man.
You know, so I'm like, it's like, you know what? I think the solution is to just get rid of it and you know, notice that life doesn't change other than probably for the better. Like, so far, it's less notifications on my phone. It's more focus on things that are important to me. And there's been a few times where I like go to Facebook.com, open up the app, and I just met with a login screen, and I'm like, that's right. That's why I got rid of that, because I didn't even think about how I got there. I just opened my phone, tap the button, you know, get on the computer, type it in. It's so subconscious. It's like so programmed that I've almost got to like get myself out of it. You know what I mean? So I'm still even kind of breaking the habit of just checking something I don't even have. It's how integrated we are in it sometimes. You know what I mean? So... so far, so good. I don't regret it one bit.
That's what's up, man. To even go back to what you said about how it wasn't like that back in the day with family and friends you necessarily didn't see on a regular basis. That social media honestly took that element away from families because now you see everybody on social media.
Yeah.
So just because you see them doesn't necessarily mean you are intentionally, as a family member, is intimate with them and showing them that you care or talk to them. You kind of get what I mean?
100%,
So a lot of that, whether if that's family, if that's dating, if it's business. Now, business-wise, I may pretty much understand it because it's all business.
Yeah.
But necessarily with the internal things with family and friends that opposed to, it kind of took away that intimate factor.
That's a great point too. That's another thing. It doesn't. That's why I just don't really feel like that's a good excuse for it because it's, it's hard. It's good. What it seems to me like is that when we were kids, it was good for us to basically create little cliques online with the people who we spent some time with at school, but wanted to chat with outside of school. You know what I mean? Like that sort of stuff. And then after a while, it was like, well, this is cool because if friends move away, or if you got family in other states or something like that, that's cool because then you can kind of be plugged in a way where you can at least stay a little more. You can see the pictures, you can see what's going on. That's cool. You know what I mean? I wouldn't necessarily want to take that away from anybody, but it is hard to find that balance of like, it does kind of make you think then if I need that tool, like why wasn't I checking in with them? Why wasn't I going out of my way to give them a phone call once a month or two, or to, you know what I mean? And that goes both ways too. It's not like, that's not a two-way street, but it does just make you wonder. It's so easy to justify keeping those things around and find a little, but it does this and this and this. And that's why when I sat down, it was like, literally, I can't think of one positive thing that it does for me in my life. I can't think of one. It makes me laugh occasionally, right? Because the best stuff, usually when I get on there, I'm pretty much looking for something funny, like a funny video or meme or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm on there for. Like, everything else is a dud. We
watched the Snoop Dogg and Chris Rock meme, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Right, that's the best stuff I find.
It do be some funny shit. I watch it for that, and I watch, I guess, a lot for sports.
Yeah. You get little highlight reels and stuff like that. That's cool.
But I mean, I think you have to ask yourself: is it necessarily Facebook or social media, or is it necessarily cell phones? Because cell phones is what pretty much link you to these things accessibly. I mean, be honest, you just pull out your phone
for sure.
So. Yeah, it may somewhat be the cell phone. So, I mean, obviously, is it going to be a huge challenge to go back to a general just flip phone that you only can call and text on?
Right.
But
could present some challenges.
And when you go home, then you log in.
Right.
Check, and obviously, not to sit on your computer all day because you have things to do out and about. And when you're out and about, and you just have a cell phone where people can literally call you, or you can check your email.
That's true.
Other than that, there's nothing wrong with it.
And that's another problem too, is everybody knows everybody is that connected. You know what I mean? And that's a weird problem we have.
So people expect instant.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's no more if
if
somebody doesn't answer their phone, for the most part, somebody is either gonna call somebody else instantly, or they're going to try to call you right back.
Right.
Because they think they have that someone in you, right?
Or if you send a text or something, or somebody
you don't
sends a text,
respond right back.
Respond within 5 minutes. There's something going on, you know what I mean? Like, that's that pressure, that strange pressure that just sometimes it's like, why do we even choose to participate in it? You know what I mean? That's one of those, it's like, and that was the other thing too, is like, everybody has these things, right? So we're all getting emails. Most of us got multiple email accounts. We all got a cell phone, so we're getting text messages. A select few of us have a business phone and a personal phone, so you're getting messages to those. Then you add in Facebook, then you add in Instagram, you add in all these different things. All these goddamn things have
all the advertisement.
I get a message a week on LinkedIn from it's just spam or somebody just doing cold. I respect it. It is what it is. But to me, it's garbage. I don't want it. You know what I mean? And then if you got 5 friends on each platform sending you videos, in which I often did, you know what I mean? I'd have 5 people send me Instagram messages. I got 5 people sending me different Facebook. I got Discord. That's an app we all, like, a lot of gamers and stuff use to do. And I got people sending me on that. And so every time you look at your phone, it's just this whirlwind. You could spend 20, 30, 40 minutes, an hour. You could spend hours if you wanted to, because people just send you stuff. And the more you kind of take the bait, the more you get more of that stuff. And
it's just really, really you in, bro.
Man, so yeah, for me, it's just like, you know what? If this is, like I said, everybody's got certain, everybody's got certain discipline with certain things. And for me, like one of the things I've always struggled with is like diet, right? For me, like the best thing to keep a clean diet, for instance, is to just keep sugar out of the house.
Yep.
If it's in the house, I don't have that moderation and control to just, poke away at it or whatever. It's all or nothing. So the best thing to do is just get that one out of the house. There's other things that other people don't have moderation with that I do. You know what I mean? But that just isn't one of them. And that's the more I started thinking about it, I'm like, maybe that's just it. Like I'm in too deep. I've opened too many messages. Too many people know that I'm there. I've opened myself up too much. It's time to just shut it down for a little while. You know what I mean? The world's not going to end. Anybody that needs to get a hold of me will be able to get a hold of me. It just is what it is. But we have this like feeling and this pressure that like if you get rid of it, it's just going to be chaos or something. And it's nothing. It's nothing really like that. But the business thing does make it hard, though. Everybody now, and they used to have it so you could have a personal account and a business account. They were smart, and they knew people were going to have regrets and want to close down their account, so they just combined the two. So in order to manage a business page, you got to have a damn personal account.
So they knew what they were doing, bro.
They knew what they were doing. They realized that was a possibility. So that made it a little bit harder. But once I realized I could just kind of transfer those off onto a dummy account, it's no big deal. Now I still can log in, and if anything happens, I can check those, I can manage those, whatever. Post a podcast video, stuff like that. I'm not hating on the platform necessarily themselves. I'd definitely be happy to post these videos to them and reap the benefits of whatever that might be. But just for me, my personal use, like, I'm just not getting anything. It's not adding any value to my life. You know what I mean? Not this year. Man.
I mean, we're at that point in life. You should honestly, as a human being, only do things of value. Now, all of those things don't necessarily have to be drastic. They don't have to be a huge goal or accomplishment, but it should hold value, whether if it's working out, if it's taking a nap, if it's just sitting there in the room, if it's helping you.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the things, a lot of people focus on the things, well, what can I show people, not necessarily how can I feel.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Type of deal. So I mean, but like you said, a lot of that is controlled somewhat or influenced by social media. But it go back to somewhat like you said about the moderation and the balance. Us as human beings, we all have things that we have challenges with. In regards to, we know, like you said, in regards to sugar, you got to keep that away from me, because if not, I'm just all in.
There's no such thing as one cookie. If there's 12 on the tray, I will finish them. You know what I'm saying?
And see, that's where that discipline comes in. That's where that awareness comes in and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I guess to be talking about balance, this is the beginning of the year. The year is going by fast as hell as it is already.
Yeah.
I think balance is something that a human being is always going to need.
Yeah.
How does entrepreneur truly find that balance between his personal life, and when I say personal, I mean the individual. Right? Yeah. Because regardless, you marry, if you have kids, or if you're single or a girlfriend or whatever, you have to have somewhat yourself together. Because if you don't, whoever you connect with, the relationships are not going to be helpful. They're not. They're not going to be stressless.
Yeah.
If you kind of get what I mean. So, in regards to that, then you have to get your shit together for who you surround yourself with. Whether if that's your wife, if that's your children, business partners, friends, and all of this shit together.
Yep.
Now you got business. And then you just got general day-to-day life, things that is absolutely out of your control.
Yeah.
What do you think over the years has necessarily helped you balance?
Keep balance. I think that is one thing. I think the key is to set boundaries, and that's a tough thing because
That's true.
That is where some people struggle for some reason. I don't know if it's a gift. I don't know if it's just. I don't know what it is, but I've never really struggled too much to create boundaries and to to be sometimes kind of rigid is the word I usually think of. People kind of think of rigid as being a little rough. I don't know. Sometimes in certain circumstances, maybe it is, but like I don't really have any problem being able to set aside a certain time and saying this time, this is what this is for.
Yeah.
Don't matter what actually gets done in that time. If I set aside this amount of time for business and I don't get done what I need to get done, then I need to adjust what I do within that time. The window of time doesn't need to change.
That's not changing.
I need to change the activity within that window of time, because if you don't allow yourself, and you know, maybe there's going to be exceptions depending on the business or whatever, but I think you can't allow that to be too much. You can't allow it to be too flexible too often. You got to be really strict with setting certain boundaries and being able to then separate that work life or business life, entrepreneur life with personal life, because just like you would a regular job, some people don't, and then their personal life struggles. Like if you got a 9 to 5 and you don't have a job where, or you feel like you don't have a job where you can cut off at the end of the day, then you drag that into your personal life. You suffer just the same, you know what I mean? So it's the same thing, I think, for running a business or anything else. Certain things are going to happen after that window of time. You got to really look at those things and go, is this really something I need to respond to out of that window of time, or would it be better if I just wait until tomorrow? You know what I mean? Certain things happen, but like I think that's really the key, is just kind of, you know, figuring out what that is and then really sticking to it. And nobody's really gonna enforce that but you. You know what I mean? Unless you have somebody helping you be accountable.
Or society,
or whatever,
unfortunately.
But, yeah, you know, but that's pretty much up to you as an individual to segment your time and figure out how to use it wisely, because, you know, that's the one, you can call it an advantage or a disadvantage depending on how you look at it as an entrepreneur. There's nobody really over your head telling you what you got to do or not do, so you got to create that for yourself, and that can be hard. That can be definitely hard, but for me, that's one thing. I feel like I almost get maybe some satisfaction or something out of it. Like I kind of
keeps you
enjoy
going.
that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I kind of just enjoy that, because it's like, I don't know, you can almost abstract that and kind of, you don't necessarily, like, people like to use that person in the background or whatever, like say maybe it's, you know, people, a lot of times people like to use their wife or something as an excuse, like, well, the wife said, that's not true, they just throwing their wife under the bus, you know, for the sake of having an excuse, you know what I mean? I feel like people do that with like a boss and stuff like that too. I don't need that thing, whatever that is above or behind me, in order to do that. I'll just usually say it like it is, you know what I mean?
Talking,
so yeah, exactly. Like if that's the excuse I gotta use, well, sorry, that's outside of the business window or something like that. Then that's just what it is. Just what it is. And if you don't respect that, then you don't understand it. It's as simple as that. You know what I mean? You've never been in that position, so I'm not gonna try and twist your arm. I understand that one. You know, I don't have no problem with that. Like one thing I got in the habit of years ago when I first got out of a job and into, you know, just doing my own thing and freelancing and stuff. I don't even know where I picked this up, but I just kind of came up with this idea where, like, if I needed that above my head or something like that, I need to create that myself, and so I just use the calendar to do that. So even if I needed like personal time, I put that literally in my calendar. If somebody asks like, hey, what do you got going on? Are you free this time? Whatever, you know, I look at the calendar, it says personal time. I'm like, no, man, that's big. It's out of my hands. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? It's already booked, you know? It's nobody's business what's booked, whether that's personal time, business time, or whatever time that is. It's already been set aside, and I find comfort in that, to be able to know, again, like, you can make exceptions. It's not like you got to be quite that rigid, but like, depending on the person and depending on, you know, how serious your goals are and everything else, you do got to be pretty serious about that stuff sometimes. And it's so easy to let temptation of like other people kind of try to pull you in a certain direction or whatever, try to get you to move that line just a little bit, you know, just because they're special or something like that. And like, nah, it's just like anything else, you know. It takes it's just like a credit score, man. You could drive that shit into the ground overnight, but it takes forever to build it back up. So you spend all this time, you know, building these barriers and kind of refining them, but you can break that wall down overnight if you're an idiot. You know, you let something kind of barge in like that. You know, it can be so easy to fall into that trap. So it's just you got to treat it like that, man. I think that's it, pretty much. Boundaries.
Man, I can agree 110% with that. I guess a lot of people either call that being stubborn. Some people call it being confrontational.
Right.
Some people call it just being, I guess that's the same definition of stuff, and I'm just going to say one-minded. But I do, unfortunately, that's not, we're taught a lot of things that's not normal.
Right.
We're not taught to be a respectful, firm person, because if you were firm, you were mean. But if you're nice, you ought to, and that kind of persuades people to be that yes man, not necessarily taking that time out. And the day that you do, people are going to be like, "Why are you acting funny?
Right, what's
wrong with you?" It was like,
right.
and why? Because society sets that expectation. When somebody asks you a question or something comes up, it's not necessarily even a question or request. It's kind of, no, I need you to do this.
Right.
It's like, don't put that pressure on me. Like, you don't know exactly what the hell I got going on. And I guess over the years, definitely put that boundary. But I guess you do in your life have those special people that you're willing to go above and beyond for
sure.
Right? Like, you got those people that if they call you, if you can do it, you're going to do it even if you don't feel like it. However, you got a long list of people. If they call you, like, you know what, I just don't have the time. You know?
And I think too, a lot of the people who you would respond if they called are the ones who don't call that often.
Yep,
you know
agree. They don't.
The ones that you're not gonna break that barrier for are the ones who will pick up the phone and call.
Every day.
Smallest inconvenience. You know what I mean? Like anything could happen. They be picking up the phone.
You set the expectation,
and you already know. Like if I give them an inch, they're gonna take a mile. I answer this phone call right now, and I say yes. It's gonna happen next week. It's gonna happen next week. But them saying it's just a strange coincidence. I know for a fact in my life, when you say that, I can think of you're one of them. I knew for a second that if you called me and asked me for something, you needed some help. You know what I'm saying? Because like otherwise, it'd be the same for me. I'd be like, I would have checked around first. You know what I mean? Like, depending on what it was, or it just. You know it's something special.
Agree.
You know it's something special.
Agree.
You know it's a special request because otherwise we would never burden each other with those types of things. But some people don't really necessarily, and I don't even think it's like out of ill will or anything like that, but people don't even, I don't think necessarily comprehend the burden they might be putting on other people. And it's not out of a place of like, I'm not trying to say you're necessarily an inconvenience as a whole or anything, but I'm trying to say
it can become that sometimes.
It can become that, and everybody's got all their own stuff going on. You can't just assume. I feel like sometimes people just assume that other people are just sitting around waiting for something to do. And I don't know one person necessarily who's
even a person who don't have shit to do or is not doing shit, they still have shit to do. They're just not doing it.
Call one of them. You know what I'm saying?
Call somebody that's just not handling their business.
I'm out here handling mine. You know what I mean? 100%. That's just a strange coincidence, because I know exactly what you're talking about.
And once you do it, it feels amazing because it allows you to do it again and again and again. And now you're like, okay, now I'm that person. I can be me. Right. It takes time, but the longer you wait, the more you get sucked in, and the more you just kind of become that person.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
And I think we talked about that maybe last season, and how life is just pretty much like a horse. You gotta take control of it.
Pretty much.
Obviously, you're gonna take times. You're gonna step off the horse. You're gonna relax. You're gonna enjoy yourself. You're gonna have times. Maybe the horse, is going fast. Maybe a time you even fell off the horse. But you gotta get back on, and you gotta keep riding, and you gotta control it. Because if you don't, social media is one of those things that would definitely control.
Things that will come into control. 100%.
I do. Something I've been really big on is every Sunday my phone send me how long I've been on my phone report on a daily basis.
Is that an iPhone thing?
Right. My goal, I get super happy with 3. I'm trying to get down to 1.
Hours?
That's
not bad.
It's not terrible.
Because that can be an hour at a time on a bad day. You know what I mean? So that's not a ton of time at all. It's not too bad.
Well, when they say 3 hours, that's a daily report.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a daily
that's
report.
tough though, because does it break it down? Because I mean, you could be on your phone for a report.
I would say a decent hour that is related to inspections.
Right.
But then you got 2 hours.
Right.
Just that 2 hours of bullshit. That every day, if I took that time, what could I really do with it?
Yeah,
Because it's 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there,
Yep.
and it adds up.
That's exactly it.
And those, and so I'm definitely because like, and that's the reason I have to think about it because I got a baby girl coming.
For sure.
She's gonna be here in a few months. None of those things, that 15 minutes here, 20 minutes there, add value. I need to soak that and pour that into her because that's obviously the only option, and that's to go there.
Yep.
And even thinking about that, I'm sitting here thinking, you know, with home inspections, obviously I know Mo has the summers off with her job.
Yep.
So obviously, but then after that, inspections are going to look different because either daycare comes or either I have certain days and times to where I only do inspections, but hopefully at that point, how the year is going, we continue to get busy and ramp things up.
Yeah.
Hopefully I can really have somebody, and now I'm only doing 2-3 inspections a week.
Right.
You know, to where we still getting 10, 15 calls, but I'm only doing 2 or 3.
Right.
You know,
or you putting that kid to work real soon.
Yeah. She might become an inspector herself, man.
And a little backpack or something.
Monica has been to a few of my inspections because when it was all last year when I picked her up from school, because Mo was getting off at 5:30. So I pick her up at 4. My inspection be 4:30 to 7:30.
Yeah.
So do it. She be there with me the first 30 minutes to an hour. She done been in an attic before, and you know, seen me flying a drone. So she knows somewhat, you know, and everything. And then obviously, you didn't learn things from me, and then even CJ, he didn't learn things and stuff like that. The thing is, CJ, he'd get on the ladder, but he'll never get on the roof.
Man,
Same thing inside the attic. He'll get up there and look, but he'll never get out. I said, man, bro, I got to do it. This is part of the job. Same thing with a crawl space. He didn't see me come in.
I'm okay with it, bro. I'll get over that. Those ladders give me too, man. It's getting down that freaks me out. I can get up. I can usually climb on the roof. It terrifies me getting back on that ladder. I don't know, something about just going backwards and like being at that, I just feeling that gravity like that. I'm just always thinking too much.
That's why I took that other ladder back and returned it because it wasn't what I was used to. I have a process with a certain type of ladder. I know where to place my feet, and I know not to get up there because if I can't place my feet and it's slippery, I ain't gonna be able to get off this roof. You know, obviously some roofs you would never want to fall off any type of roof. Obviously, the smaller the house, forbid that the ladder fall, you gonna be okay. You know, or you might need a little Band-Aid or something like that. But obviously, that's where the drone comes into play and everything like that. So I guess what really gets me in the summertime when I'm out there inspecting, and my drone comes out, kids are just everywhere, and they, and then even sometimes, and I guess I had wanted to talk to you about this, about possibly doing some small boundary videos for Chandler inspections. I guess I'm talking about boundaries because sometimes kids come to an inspection. Kids can somewhat interrupt everything I pretty much say. Meaning, 70% of what I told your mom and dad, they don't even remember. I don't even, and they're just being children. You know, they're just being a child. You can't help a 2, 3. You know what I'm saying? A little kid, man. They are naturally being who they are meant to be. So, and there's nothing bad with that, but the home inspection should be for the person buying the home, who's going through the process and everything like that. And they even really big, showing up the last hour. I did have a client yesterday who did show up early. He completely stayed out my way.
Cool.
Perfect. He said, Brian, I told him the story in humor about the guy falling off the ladder. He said, Brian, you don't have to worry about me doing none of that, man. So super cool dude. And everything like that. So
I meant to ask you about that. I thought about this after you left. You told me about that. How did you get down after that?
He's a painter. He got a ladder out of his truck, held it, and I got down.
Unreal, bro. I thought it was off. I'm like, wait a second, broke the ladder. I'm like, did you have to jump off?
No. Forbid I did. That house was 780 square feet.
Oh,
so
man.
it was a pretty small house. Forbid, but no.
Yeah. I'm like, damn.
No.
Like, yeah, because I'm like, damn, he said it was broken. I'm like, that's crazy though, because had it been any other person, it probably would not have had a ladder with him, bro. And you'd have either been stuck on the roof or thinking about, is that gonna hurt me? You know what I mean? Because you never know too. It could be a small drop, but he landed just wrong or on the wrong day or something. I don't know if I'd do it. I'd be like, now that you did that, I guess go run to Home Depot or whatever. Because I'm gonna need a ladder. I have to get down here. I guess I'm chilling up here for a while.
Yeah, it just happened that he was a painter. Maybe that's why he was so energetic and excited. But I'm like, brother, you have to allow me to do my job.
Oh my
and that's going to be the other thing. Once again, I don't mind questions at all.
Yeah.
But if you're going to question everything I tell you as if what I'm telling you is wrong,
that's weird. Yeah, that's weird.
You hire me for a reason.
Yeah.
I have somewhat proof that what I'm telling you is accurate.
Yeah.
And once again, no question is a dumb question. And I never make my clients feel like they can't ask me anything.
Sure.
However, you do run into once in a while.
Oh yeah.
And that's the fun thing about real estate, because sometimes realtors know they sending you a client that's you know what I'm saying, that's just different.
Yeah.
And sometimes realtors actually call me and they'll be like, hey Brian, just so you know this person, I'm like, hey, I'm used to it. Just bring it on.
It's always nice to have a heads up.
It's always nice.
It is nice
to have a heads up for sure.
I got kind of a similar, I got a situation where I'm working with somebody that I really enjoy, working with a little side project, and they kind of have their process and I kind of got mine, you know what I mean, which is fine, but they kind of provided me with what I would call kind of it's hard to even say, imagine we're building a website. This person has basically got a very, very, very rough outline of what they think it should look like. And it's just kind of it's so rough that you couldn't possibly look at it and think, you couldn't really deduce anything from it, you know what I mean? Other than basic placement, but it's just so rife with inconsistencies and there's not a lot of visual elements. It's clear kind of the direction, but that's about it. You know what I mean? And so and that's fine especially if that helps that person kind of come up with how they want to communicate this process of theirs or whatever on their own. I understand that. But what kind of caught me off guard was that when I said, okay, that's fine, but when you provide me that, I'm going to provide you, which is this is just kind of a part of my routine now, with the exception being kind of our experience because we bounce things back and forth and we just do things different. But with a general person, I would try to, lock in some sort of content and direction, and then I would basically come up with a static wireframe, pretty much in the form of a PDF that would be 50% to the quality that the website will be. And the point is just to give you a really good idea of where visual elements will be placed, and photos and menu items, and just a real good idea, a wireframe, a prototype of a site. And this person, when I said that I was going to do that, was almost wanted to skip that step because they felt like they had done that. And I'm like, I don't think you understand. What you have provided me and what is going to ultimately end up being created out of that, we're not even in the ballpark of that. So I need to come up with something that is at least semi-accurate to what you're looking for, so that I can throw that back to you and say, is this what you're looking for? Because it's not clear to me in what you have here. You might think it's clear to you, but if that's the case, then you go ahead and build a website, because that's not clear to me. And I promise you, if you give that to anybody else that does what I do, they're going to do the same thing. So we got to come up with an actual wireframe that will make some sense here, because then I'm not wearing every hat anymore. So now I need to take this, something that is now looks like a website,
Huh?
you know, could become a website. I got to send this off to my guy who can understand that. Because if I can't understand what you're providing me over here, he damn sure can't understand what you're providing. Because this is just gibberish. Like, I've been along with him on the process of the gibberish that's here, so I kind of have it. And I've been doing this for over 10 years, so I understand the direction you're going. But not this guy. And I don't expect him to, and nobody should, you know what I mean? So it needs to be translated to something to where that 10, 15 hours of work can be passed off to somebody who has not been a part of this process for 10 hours or whatever while we've been putting this together, you know. So and it just kind of caught them off guard. It's like, wow, you know what I mean? I almost felt like it kind of offended them or something. I'm like, look, I'm not, you know, trust me, it's to protect all of us, because inevitably what's going to happen is I'm going to put that together and you're going to go, oh, well, could you do this, this, and that? And it's like, no problem, because I'm just sliding it around. But if I had started to build a website and then we're bouncing this back and forth, now I'm frustrated because, I mean, you know how, you know, I'm nitpicky. Like, I don't want, like, garbage in, garbage out. I don't want that. You see, we're rebuilding the site right now. I got 3 different test development things going on right now so that when the time comes, everything that drops on there is pristine. You know, there's not a stain on the shirt. You know what I mean? Because that's just...
You always been like that. It's
important to me, bro. You know what I mean? It's just important to me. And I think that it should be important to everyone, and that's why we go to professionals. That's why somebody goes to you for a home inspection. It's like, leave me the hell alone. I'm trying to give you the most comprehensive and detailed report, and there's a process to that. And the best process is for you to leave me alone for 2 hours, 3 hours, and for me to then come to you with a comprehensive list, and then followed by a report that was put together while I was not distracted by you. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just how it works best. And better than that, that's exactly what you're paying me for. Otherwise, you know, you might as well go to somebody who you can just like whatever. That's fine. If you want to go to the person, you know, conversely, if this person with this gibberish wants to go to a person who's going to take that gibberish and go, yeah, I'll do a good job. Good luck. You know what I mean? Good luck. I just personally feel like it's not going to turn out the way you think.
Agreed.
Or you're going to be bouncing them back and forth on something they're developing. They're going to be doing a whole bunch of extra work and be charging you more money as a result of it. You're going to get animosity towards each other because you're not understanding each other, even though you're not speaking the same language. So why would you? I've been down that road. You know what I mean? Like, I went there. I got the ribbon. Like, I'm good. You know what I mean? So I know exactly what you mean. Sometimes it's weird that people just kind of don't let you do the job that they're paying you for. You know what I mean?
It don't mean. A lot of that is probably inner issues with trust. It's just kind of like you said, something weird. But
I never try to I always kind of try to probably for better, but I always kind of try to think like, is there something I could do better? Like, could I have? Sometimes the answer is no. You know what I mean? But like, could I have communicated better what it is that I do? Could I have? Is there something I could have changed the next time to make that more clear or something like that? There's probably some degree of that. Because also, you know, I'm not a very direct person unless I really need to be, because there's that balance of like trying to come off as a authoritative figure versus somebody who's a little flexible. I like to at least try to be a little flexible, you know what I mean? But sometimes if you come off that way right off the bat, then you wind up in these sorts of situations where if you had just been firm from the very beginning, you wouldn't be dealing with it. So it's just, you know, sometimes you just got to make adjustments, but it's all part of the process. Sometimes the process got to change a little bit. Sometimes we got to communicate certain things ahead of the inspection to say, take shit out of your oven, because if it's in there, I can't move it and test it. I mean, move stuff away from your electrical box. Might seem self-evident to us, but you know, people busy, they're not thinking of that kind of stuff. It's nice to help them out. So sometimes maybe it's just an adjustment that we can make. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Hard to say.
That's what life is all about, man. It's definitely making adjustments. I think this is going to be an adjustment year and a lot of good things. I mean, adjustment from being a father, hopefully adjustment. I mean, being a husband now, an adjustment. And when people hear adjustments, they might think like, oh, they're bad things. No, adjustments come with responsibilities, come with different phases in life, come with you writing a new chapter in this journey that you write in. But hopefully adjustment with overseeing people that's doing inspections and not necessarily doing them. is probably one of the main goals, because that was always the goal with the business. But even sharing with you, to be able to pay yourself $72 an hour and work beyond less than what you used to. When you think about complaining and somewhat the long days, it's like you used to have long days, Monday through Saturday sometimes.
Repetitive too.
Man, working 12-hour shifts, and barely getting by, when your check comes. So
we're putting in 12-hour shifts.
Exactly.
Good cause.
Exactly.
Right now,
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good day. If it's 12-hour shift, something's going right. You know what I mean?
Exactly, man. Yeah. So it's all about appreciating those moments and everything like that. But like you said, kind of going back to some goals. The new website coming, new report coming.
Yeah. Big stuff behind
that stuff, man. Home Facts releasing later in the year. The year has started off fantastic.
Yeah. Really has.
And surely, man. Very positive to be receiving a couple calls a week simply off of Google.
In January.
And January is fantastic. Hopefully that means for spring and summer, that goes from being from 2 to hopefully 4 to 5 a week. Then continuing with our referrals, getting us up to that 10, 12 on a consistent basis, and bringing people on and working things out, and everything like that. But I guess in the meantime, at least for me personally, the main next goals are planning a baby shower, get ready for Mackenzie to come into the world and everything like that. Oh, it's gonna come faster than expected, man.
Yeah.
And then most importantly, having a home for Mackenzie before she get here. So doing that within the next few months, and everything like that. So that's pretty much that's the thesis for my year, personally and professionally. Obviously, there's an abundance of small things, included in those things and stuff like that. But just kind of ending the show, do you have anything necessarily? And I know that you do, but you mind sharing kind of what those overall thesis goals are for the year?
Yeah. For this year, one thing we kind of been doing at my day job is in the morning. This is kind of cool, but kind of a group of us led by at least one of the two owners, usually almost every day, unless they don't have time. Been kind of going through these different leadership videos, which has actually been kind of nice. But we're talking 3 to 5 minute videos or something. But then we'll sit and talk for 30, 40 minutes and stuff. It's really cool. Everybody has really good input and good insights, and last few months we were talking about the whole subject was intentionality, being intentional and stuff. And so then we talked about towards the end of the year, beginning of this year, we talked about, I think one of the owners of the company asked everybody just for fun, kind of if you had to put 2023 into a word, a focus word or something like that, what would yours be? And I went with the first thing that came to mind pretty quickly for me, which was actually just patience. I don't really know why, but that's just the first thing that hit me. And I mean, I think generally speaking, I'm a pretty patient person, but we were talking about before the show. There's definitely moments and things, and things that make me be impatient, and that's sad. And sometimes almost all the time it'll be little stupid stuff or something like that, But it doesn't really matter how big or small, I feel like when we're, especially, you probably had some times too when you were younger. I feel like younger men often struggle with anger issues and stuff. You kind of come to that point in your life where you're a little angry teenager a lot of times, whatever. Everybody kind of has their struggle with that. I've kind of been through that and really
finding your manhood, your ego.
Totally. Some people go the other way and just always be mad at everything. But I think I kind of conquered that for the most part. But as I get older, some of those little things, there's no excuses necessarily for losing our cool, losing our temper.
Agreed.
We're never ourselves when we do that. You know what I mean? So, I don't think it's unrealistic or undesirable to never really lose your head like that. You know what I mean? Maybe with the exception being to, protection or something like that. If you had somebody that was approaching you or your family or something, or causing some sort of trouble, maybe something like that. Sometimes that anger might be necessary, but like I just don't think it's ever necessary to really be impatient or respond with to any situation with anything other than the most grace that you possibly can for that situation, because for a million reasons, so that kind of like that was cool. We talked about that, everybody kind of picked their thing, and I thought it kind of stuck with me. I'm like, that's something to kind of try to focus on all year. And on a personal, like kind of more business level, things are going real well outside of the job with my business. I got somebody working for me pretty damn regularly. So it kind of gives me, as that's been going real well, I can't believe it's already the end of this month. Things that's been going real well. It would be good to try to kind of, to continue to lock the process and implement them into that process, and just kind of slowly allow that to kind of build out. Maybe even throw some effort into, I never really spent the time so much to like build my business presence in any real sense. I don't even really have too much, ironically enough, I don't even really have a big website built up or anything like that, but now having some help and some time and some resources and some capital to even do that, could build that presence out and then actually do some advertising or something like that, just to kind of bring some of that business in instead of just relying on the referrals, which have been still around and everything like that. But to be able to create more of a system of business, just like we're trying to do for Chandler Inspections, trying to get that outside. The referral circles are great. We love and appreciate everybody that refers our businesses. But you just never know when that energy is going to be kind of fast or slow, or what that's going to be like. So you can't really necessarily rely on that. So trying to, just like we are with Chandler Inspections, trying to create something outside of that, whether that's with Google or whatever else, some niche or resource or like whatever that just kind of brings in some other business to keep that more consistent. That'd be a similar goal for me, just trying to do that. And because especially now without really the pressure of needing it, almost makes me want to do it more. You know what I mean? To spend that time kind of more so driving that and taking it to somewhere we can get some business and just kind of letting it let it be. So that'd probably be it for me. Continue with fitness goals. Gotta stay in good shape. We're gonna get successful, have all this money, we better be in shape to enjoy.
We got to, man. No diss to DJ Khaled, but I don't want to be DJ Khaled.
No. He's tried so many times, man. Bless his heart. He's tried so many times. He just can't do it. I can relate, bro.
It's hard, man.
Keep that shit around the house, especially when people just throwing everything at you all the time. Good luck, man.
But it dawned on me though, bro, that you build websites for other people, but you don't have a website for yourself.
I know, that's really. I do, like, it's there, but it's not like. It's not in depth. It's just it's very simple. I mean, it looks good. It's functional. Like it's clean and everything. But if you were to go look at like most companies that do, a lot of them like to use the term agency now. I'm still not really so sure how I feel about that, but it's accurate. Like because they're trying to do multiple things, a website and marketing, all that kind of stuff. We do whatever. So it's appropriate. But like you usually see they got all sorts of pages on all that kind of stuff. I really don't. It's more just like, here's some of the work, your site's on there, handful of sites on there. Here's some basic rates. Here's a contact. It's real simple, almost like a business card. You know what I mean? I haven't really taken the time to build it out to look bigger and that sort of thing. You know what I mean? So that is kind of a goal for this year, because I don't have to necessarily do it by myself. I got some help with it. That's not something that's necessarily going to make me any money right back or anything, but I can invest into that, some help just to kind of build that up and spend some time on that. But it is funny though. It is funny.
You the electrician that live in a house with knob and tube.
Yeah.
You fixing everybody's house but your own.
100%. Yeah. In fact, it wasn't until probably either early last year or late the year before where I even put together what I have now. I go all this time. Just the website that I have now. Yeah, it took me that long just to even put that up. But I was like, I gotta do something. I gotta have something that people go and look at it. You know what I mean? Because that, again, that word of mouth has been so helpful. I just haven't really needed to have that space where people can go and check me out unsolicited. You know what I mean? Without having somebody to just stumble upon that or whatever. So it's not that it looks unprofessional or anything, but it does look small. You know what I mean? It's clear that it's a small operation, which how there's a kind of that balance of making us look like small business versus medium versus large business, and kind of how you market that, and how you use your language and marketing and all that kind of stuff. That all matters, So it's all about perspective and perception. So, that is kind of funny, and that's one thing I kind of got to do. I think as a whole chain of things to kind of like set that up, do some of the things like we were talking about the other day, even for Chandler inspections, like hooking up analytics and maybe running some ads and just doing some different things and test and track and that sort of thing, just to see where it gets us. So because I've never done that, didn't need to, didn't have the capital to necessarily sink into it.
Yes, sir.
It was just kind of more of a means to an end sort of thing. So yeah, blessed to have the opportunity to even be in that position, this year. So
blessings on blessings, man.
Amen.
That's the year for 2023.
Amen. Yeah.
So,
yes, sir.
But no, man, that's Under the Rug podcast on season 2,
episode 1. Just slipping in again at the end of the month. We gave some shout outs at the last episode, at the end of the last season, and I'm sure I know one of them watched it. My homie Rob that I shouted out. He
John didn't watch the last episode.
I don't know if he did. I didn't get anything.
He's gonna watch this one. He's gonna watch this one and everything.
I know Rob did though, so second shout out to Rob, because he texted me. Right, he texted me with the timestamp and said, you gotta mention whatever. He even
He's
said,
probably gonna text you when he see this one.
Probably would. He even said, what did he say? He said that we were talking about. I was kind of telling him about how we had talked about doing, this year and everything like that. Maybe make some changes or whatever. And he was like, "Oh man, I was wondering, because sometimes it was getting towards the end of the month, so he was looking for it. He knew." So. Shout out to Rob.
That's what's up, man.
We're sliding in here again just at the end of the month, but we won't let you down. We're gonna keep it going, and just like with everything else, I think we might even have some improvements incoming. I'm not gonna promise anything. I'm not gonna leak anything. But,
when you see it, don't be surprised.
Thanks for sticking with us. Yeah. I think we got some big things coming. Thanks for sticking with us. Season 2, episode 1. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.